Laying naked tonight, doing some jive talking with you. Take your blouse off, slowly lick you from your head to your toes. Jive talking, it never ends. Hard rock and news and heavy metal with my friends. Naked in the bed, naked in the bed, making love to you. Making love to you naked in the bed is all I really want to do. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo episode, 19? Jesus. Where's all the time gone? Nose is feeling better. Life is feeling a little bit better. There's spring in the flowers and the trees and the stuff. I can feel it coming. It's not going to be hopefully it's not going to be another grim year. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. But let's get into some heavy metal and hard rock news, because that's what we're here to do. The not yet award-winning, but soon to be award-winning Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, episode 19, hard rock and rock news. Please join me on this journey. I've always been curious about this. I don't know if you've ever been curious or not, but why Bruce Dickenson left Iron Maiden 30 years ago. He's going to tell us. He's looking pretty good there in that nice button-up shirt, right? He's got a good blouse on there. Bruce Dickenson says that felt that he had to leave Iron Maiden nearly 30 years ago in order to learn what it was like to live life away from the band. So there wasn't a big angry fight? Dickinson joined Maiden in 1981, replacing Paul Di'Anno, who was also great in Iron Maiden. Yes, no, yes, agree. And made his recording debut with the band on the 1982 album, The Number of the Beast. Another thing I'll say about that is, what was his name? Clive Burr that was the drummer for that album? Boy, him and Nico McBrain have such a beautiful playing style that they complement. You couldn't have asked for a better guy to come in and take over on drums, right? Than Nico McBrain. Number of the Beast. He quit the group in 1993, pursuing several solo projects, and rejoined in 1999. First time I saw Iron Maiden was on the Fear of the Dark tour. So was that before he left? I think that was before he left the band. And then the other two times that I've seen Iron Maiden were both on the Book of Souls tour. Bruce touched upon his departure from Maiden during the question and answer portion of his March 23rd spoken word. He's doing these spoken word concerts around the country, and people are just flocking in to hear him say, "Well, let me tell you, mate, about Iron Maiden and what I like to do in the band and what I've done." What's it called? Show at the Metallus in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Asked about the reason for his exit from the group, Dickinson said, "Honestly, I was surprised as anybody else. I didn't think people really believed that at the time. I just thought that if I stayed with Maiden forever, all I would learn about was what it was like to be in Maiden. And in order to learn what it was like to be outside Maiden, you have to leave. Because unless you left, nobody would take anything that you did seriously." Did they take Tattooed Millionaire seriously? Was that his groundbreaking serious moments? "It would always be like, oh, bless him, he's doing a solo record, let him have his fun." And then he can always be like, oh, Jesus, I almost read that line again. Let's do it again. "Oh, bless him, he's doing a solo record, like he's had some fun, and he can go back to being in Iron Maiden. I hated that. So I thought, fuck it, I'll just leave." And the people said, "What happens if your solo career doesn't work out?" Like it did, right? It didn't really work out, did it? I said, "Well, that's God or fate saying maybe that's for the best." And I said, "It's better to take the chance now and do something else with your life than sit around there somewhere in fantasy world and end up just grumpy." But he's back in Iron Maiden because he realizes that was a good thing for him to do. You know, he's the lead singer for Iron Maiden, for crying. Back in 2019, Dickenson said that he had no interest in returning to Maiden more than 20 years ago. What? Can't be back in 2019, maybe back in 2009? I don't know. Dickenson said that he had no interest in returning to Maiden more than 20 years ago if it meant only focusing on nostalgia. Yeah, you don't want to be what they call heritage band, where you just go around and play the hits, and and some bands are content with that. They're totally fine with that. Here's Bruce again, quote, "Well, all I needed to know was that we are going to come back as some sort of reunion. I didn't want to come back as some sort of reunion type of thing," he explained. "I didn't want to go back to the past. This was going to be about putting a band together that was looking ahead to the future, to do great new albums and to really restart the whole impetus and direction of the band." And Steve Harris, who's the big boss of Iron Maiden, said that's what he wanted to do. And I was like, okay, let's do it then. And of course, the first album we came out with after that was Brave New World. I think one of the best Maiden albums that we've ever done. I haven't heard a lot of Brave New World. Is that a pretty good one? I've heard some songs from it, but during Dickenson's absence from Maiden, the band released 2 albums with his successor. We know this. Wolfsbane singer Blaze Bayley, 1995's The X Factor and 1998's Virtual XI, which saw Maiden relegated to playing small theaters in America for the first time in years. Bruce's 2-month North American spoken word tour kicked off January 17th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and will run through the end of March. Dickenson, who had a they're going to go into his tumor stuff, who had a golf gall size, so there's guys, that's not me. You can see that right there, a golf gall. It's a golf ball sized tumor on his tongue and another in his lymph node on the right side of the neck, got the all clear in May 2015. So we know that he's doing well, he's doing good, and we want him to be happy and healthy, and we want him to stay in Iron Maiden. Don't be doing no more trick shots where you want to go off and be your own little pal, okay? Coming up next, are you a fan of Dee Snider? Have you ever heard of a band called Twisted Sister? Well, he was the head singer for that band. And I wanted to read this because it says Twisted Sister's Dee Snider, grunge, quote, grunge cured hair metal. Now, I think what he's going to say here is that grunge came in and destroyed, put the boots to hair metal. But I am starting to take the opinion that hair metal did hair metal in. Grunge didn't help, but hair metal didn't help because it got too ballady. Everybody had to do a ballad. And when Metallica in 1990 came out with Nothing Else Matters, ballad, 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 and then it was you have to do a ballad. Twisted Sister singer Dee Snider spoke to Tom Laviccia of Armchair MBA about how the rise of grunge in the early 1990s forced most hard rock bands off the radio and MTV. Well, that's true. With album and tour sales plummeting, asked if he saw Seattle bands like Nirvana and Soundgarden slowly gaining popularity at the expense of 1980s metal. Dee said, "I want to rock." He said that, but he says this. Well, no one saw it coming, but I was already dead and semi-buried before grunge hit. Well, he's got a good sense of humor, doesn't he? Twisted arrived in the early 80s, and then we hit our stride in the mid-80s, and by the late 80s, the band had broken up. I had a band called Desperado. There's something I didn't know. With former Iron Maiden drummer Clive Burr. We just mentioned his name, didn't we? And I got it correct. Remember when I said Clive Burr and Nico McBrain? They complement each other. It's like they make sweet, sexy love together, but through the drums for Iron Maiden songs. And ex-Gillan guitarist Bernie Tormé. That sounds familiar. They got shelved by Elektra Records. A lot of money we spent on the record, so I was sort of already removed as a feature artist by that point. and I was struggling trying to find my footing with Desperado and then Widowmaker. And then I got the letter in the mail, certified letter. We have decided we're no longer doing what you do. Looks like you, sound like you, sings like you, write like you, performs like you. We actually don't want anything to do with anything you ever did. God love him. God, at least he's honest with himself, right? A lot of these blowhards, they just go on about, no, it's the industry. That he saw some changes coming, right? Imagine being a doctor who studied a form of medicine and they found a cure for it. You're a cancer specialist, a specialist. It was you dedicated your life to, and you get a pill that cures cancer. You're out of work. Grunge cured hair metal, so I was out of work. So Dee Snider's using the word hair metal too, people, because I use that quite often, and some people get really worked up about it. They don't like that term hair metal. I'm fine with it. Glam metal, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. It's not an insult. I think you got to embrace the words, right? You know, people call me fat fuck. I've embraced it. Yes, I'm fat fuck. Call me John Fat Fuck Johnson. You know, well, call me whatever you like. Just don't call me late to dinner. You want to know why? Because I'm a fat fuck. Let's see. Less than 2 years ago, Snider told Ultimate Guitar that he loved Nirvana and other grunge bands when they emerged. When they first came out, it wasn't even called grunge, he explained. And this is the thing about titles. Even heavy metal, punk, hair metal, those are not titles chosen by the artist. They're titles chosen by the writers, and usually as a negative connotation, usually as a form of a put down. And the artists they called grunge, called punk, called heavy metal, they hated it. This is a fact, this is a fact, dude. I'm old. I know this. A fact. If you mention grunge to Soundgarden or Pearl Jam, they got physically violent with you. I think Dee Snider could beat up anybody that's in Soundgarden and anyone that's in Pearl Jam, except maybe Kim Thale, the guitar player, the big beefy kind of guy, drinks a lot of Coors Light and stuff. I think Dee Snider could beat everyone up but him. They were just a rock band, and if anything, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, they were metal bands. They were touring with Ozzy Osbourne. It just became defined by some writers. They pigeonholed it and called it a new sound. Let's just read this little bit here. Dee continued, when it first came out, I was, again, doing metal radio, and I was playing Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Nirvana on my show, and I was like, this is great, heavy new stuff. So then it became defined as grunge, and then it was the hair metal killer, and that was awful. But I don't blame it on the music. Hair metal did it to itself. It became too commercialized, and then it got unplugged and became nothing but power ballads. Did I tell you? Power ballads and acoustic songs, yes. By the end of by the time grunge came around, everyone was doing unplugged acoustic solo records and power ballads. It wasn't metal anymore. It had to go. It had to change. Smart man. He knows what he's doing. This man right here, you see that face? It's a very chiseled face. He's a beefy dude. He could beat him up. I'm going to lay my money on Dee Snider beating up everyone in Soundgarden and everyone in Pearl Jam. And everyone, and most the addicts or whatever. And he could definitely beat up Lane Staley if Lane Staley was still alive. Do you remember a few weeks ago when we were talking about Sebastian Bach? It might have been even last week. Sebastian Bach, and talking about let's get that 30th anniversary together. And we talked about how Tony Harnell had joined the band for a few months. And then they got this guy that was, what was he, Brazil? What did they say? Brazilian, a South African, English-born, named Z.P. Thiert. Skid Row parts ways with singer Z.P. Thiert, enlists ex-Heat frontman Eric Gronwall. Is this Eric Gronwall or is this Z.P. Thiert? All the more reason for Sebastian Bach and those guys to get back together. They just got this Thiert guy in, and now they've let him go too. You can't be talking about, what was that Sabo going on about? He's talking about, I love doing the rock and roll with my friends. Well, apparently the last 4 singers you've had are not your friends. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's Sabo that's got the problem. Bach's gone. They go through 4 singers. Maybe sometimes you got to look inside yourself and say, maybe everyone else is not the problem. Maybe I'm the problem. Could be. Skid Row has parted ways with the singer Z.P. Thiert and has replaced him with ex-Heat vocalist Eric Gronwall. Could someone please tell me what Heat H.E.A.T. stands for? There's got to be, it's an acronym for something, right? Vocalist Eric Gronwall, pictured. Okay, this is Eric Gronwall, guys. This is the guy and he's very happy. He's very happy that he's joining. Let's see if he says that. Gronwall will make his recording debut with Skid Row on the band's upcoming album, The Gang's All Here. That's an ironic title, isn't it? The Gang's All Here, except for Sebastian. This new guy we don't really know very well, but he's going to sing over it. Due on October 14th via Ear Music. The LP's first single, the title track, will be made available on Friday, March 25th. That's tomorrow, people. So by the time you're checking this out, it's out. So you guys can get down there and tell me what you think of the single, right? A snippet of The Gang's All Here, which received its world premiere earlier today, Wednesday, March 23rd on Sirius XM, Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk, can be heard below. I was going to ask you guys this. On the Trunk Nation podcast that's on Spotify, he comes on and he goes, yes, I'm just telling you guys that it's 1 hour of what I do all day. There's so much more you can get on Sirius XM with the Trunk Nation, but for the Eddie podcast, and he does the interviews, there's a clip it, and I want to say that's Ted Nugent. But at the very beginning when he goes, this is the only podcast that you want to turn up. The only talk podcast you want to turn up. And then there's a guy going, nah, no, you don't want to be mellow around here. And you can hear a crowd screaming, go, does everyone really want to be mellow around here? And I'm just like, it sounds like Ted Nugent when he was probably way, way younger, a little bit more cool, but he's got kind of a slang to his voice. Let me tell you something here. If you want to be mellow, you can just go ahead and get the fuck on out of here now. And I'm just curious as who that is. If it's not him, that's fine. I want to know who it is that says it. And it's at the very, very beginning. It's just the thing, kind of like the keyboard bit I do at the very beginning of the podcast. Another thing I'd say is go listen to Blackie Lawless interview where they're saying, what's this tour going to be like? Blackie, tell us about it. Well, the stage is going to be set up. We're going to put the drums on a riser made of hay bales. I was like, it's going to look like an authentic freak show. I was like, oh boy, okay, I wonder what the drummer thinks of that. Skid Row said in a statement, it's a new era for Skid Row with a new album, a new single, and a world tour. We've added a new voice. Welcome powerhouse vocalist Eric Gronwall, formerly of the band Heat from Sweden. Oh, Gronwall's coming in here. And ladies and gentlemen, I hereby declare that circle of all fucking circles complete. You're looking at the new singer of official Skid Row. Last September, Grunwald released his cover version of Skid Row's 18 and Lives to Go via all streaming platforms. At the time, he said about this version of the track, this song was basically the starting point of my professional career as an artist. I performed this song during Swedish Idol audition back in 2009. 12 years later, it's time to give this bad boy a try again. Here's my version of Skid Row song, 18 and Life to Go. In 2018, Grunwald debuted in the U.S. for 10 million viewers on NBC's live broadcast of Andrew Lloyd Webber's, and Tim Rice. Isn't he the San Francisco football player? 49ers, Tim Rice? Musical Jesus Christ Superstar, along with John Legend, Alice Cooper, Sarah. Oh, God, that sounds like a nightmare. I'd love to see that. And others. Eric played the key role of Simon Zelotes. Oh, that's interesting. Grunwald sang on Heat's last 4 studio albums. I've heard some of that stuff. They're good. I've liked the Heat songs I've heard. Address the Nation 2012, Tearing Down the Walls 2014, Into the Great Unknown 2017, and Heat 2 2020 before exiting the group in October. Grunwald was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in March 2021. A short time later, he wrote on his social medias, "I am extremely privileged and grateful to..." See, I can't do this if he's going to say something about... If he's saying fun things, that's one thing, but if he's saying sad things... "I am extremely privileged and grateful to live at a day and age where a disease like this is curable." Oh, good, he's fine. Thiert, a former member of Dragon Force, joined Skid Row in 2016 following the departure... Okay, so that's the ZP Thiert. Following the departure of Tony Harnell, TNT and Starbreaker. Has anyone ever heard Starbreaker? I would love to know what that was all about. So there he is. There's Grunwald. And he's going to do it. What's that? "We are so used gone wild." New King Diamond album. You guys a fan of King Diamond? I love King Diamond. Either you love King Diamond or you don't. There's no two ways about it. No one says, he's all right. I mean, maybe some people do, but I love King Diamond. Even if his albums are not good, sometimes they're like, that's kind of a hit and miss. But new King Diamond album won't arrive before 2023. See, and I was anxiously waiting for it to pop up. But has something happened? Metal Blade Records founder and CEO Brian Slagle spoke to Canadians' The Metal Voice about the progress of the songwriting sessions for the new studio album from both King Diamond and Merciful Fate. Oh, my heavens to Betsy. He said, "Ho, ho, ho. I had a really good conversation." Oh, this is Brian Slagle. "I had a really good conversation with King Diamond, who fronts both King Diamond and Merciful Fate, the other day. And he's working on both King Diamond and Merciful Fate. I might have heard a demo or two that sounded really, 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 really good, bro. I don't know when either of these records are going to come out, because King likes to do things at his own speed, which is slow to stop." He explained, "It's like, hey, whatever works for you is totally fine with me. But I was very happy with what I've heard so far, so hopefully everybody will be pretty happy. Merciful Fate is doing a bunch of festivals this summer. Knock on wood. As long as they don't get canceled. And then they're also playing Psycho Las Vegas Fest in Las Vegas, which I think will definitely be the only U.S. date. There's possibly, there could be a Canadian date somewhere along the lines here too. We'll see. But there will be a new King Diamond record, I'm hoping, in 2023, and there will also be a new Merciful Fate record sometime soon-ish. Last month, King Diamond said that he was working on lyrics for the long-awaited new album. See, and when King Diamond does lyrics, he's basically telling a story from beginning to end. The first song to the last song, he's telling a story through it. So you can write a song about sexing with your baby. You can sing a song about sexting, phone texting, sexting with your girlfriend or your baby girl. Or you can write about a fast car, or you can do this. But King Diamond writes horror stories. And they have to start and they have to end. Last month, King Diamond said that he was working on lyrics on a long-awaited new album from his namesake band titled The Institute. The group's first LP in 15 years is tentatively next year for the Metal Blade. So there you have that. There's a bunch more here. I don't want to get into that. Yeah, the last album he put out wasn't that Give Me Your Soul... Please... says, Give Me Your Soul, Please sold 4,500 copies in the United States in its first week of release. To debut at number 174 on the top 200 Billboard charts. Isn't that crazy? 4,500 copies can get you on the Billboard charts now. Now that there's streaming and everything else. Now they start doing the calculating on all of it. Well, yeah, you might have sold 10,000 records, but how was your streaming numbers? So that was the last one that came out. Give Me Your Soul, Please. All right. We're almost getting to your comments here for this episode, but I did want to go, well, if you don't know who that is, or if you're listening on Spotify, that is the sounds. That's my impression of one Robert Zombie. He makes horror movies and he does rock and roll. And I wanted to let all you folks out there know this is going to be a 90s extravaganza going on here, because you got Rob Zombie and Mudvayne. Well, it wouldn't have been 90s, would it? In the late 90s, early 2000s. Rob Zombie Mudvayne announced summer 2022 tour with Static X and Power Man 5000. That's going to get some willies hard, right? I hope there's a quote from Rob Zombie in here. I really do. Rob Zombie and Mudvayne will embark on the Freaks on Parade tour. That sounds really close to something. Freaks on a Leash and Bulls on Parade. So they said, let's do a bit of Korn and a bit of Rage Against the Machine and come up with a real cool title. Freaks on Parade. Tour this summer. Support on the trek will come from Static X and Power Man 5000. So they're doing that. Mudvayne and Rob Zombie will be co-headlining, just like he's done with Marilyn Manson, who, by the way, I saw that documentary. Oh, my goodness. He did it. It's on HBO. I don't know what to think of her, because a lot of the documentary was just her pushing her kid on the swings or smoking cigarettes or looking longingly into a sunset. But I will tell you right now, that guy, they even read quotes out of his book where he's like, yeah, I threw an ashtray at my mother's face. She was bleeding all over the place and stuff. And all I'm saying, guys, is I don't know the ins and outs of anything, but all I will tell you for sure is that if you're someone that can throw an ashtray and punch your mother in the face, you've got no problems whatsoever doing that to anyone else on the planet. And he wrote this. This is what he wrote in his book, A Long Way Down to Hell or something. He's talking about how he used to abuse his mother and stuff. And it's like, yeah. That doesn't go away, right? Back to the thing at hand. Produced by Live Nation, the 21-city track kicks off on July 20th at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater in Maryland Heights, making stops across the U.S. in Tampa, Holmdel, Tinley Park, and more before wrapping up in the Woodlands at Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion. Jesus. They're just naming these things anything they want now, right? It's because she's some millionaire lady. Oh, I know that I'm donating the money for a good cause, but I would like it to be called the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, please. Thank you. On August 21st. A special Blabbermouth pre-sale. Oh, Blabbermouth's going to give you a pre-sale Thursday, March 24th at 10 a.m. local time and end Thursday, March 24th at 10 p.m. local time. When prompted, type in the press code BLABBER22. So if you're interested in getting them ticks, then I would definitely do it. Because Robert Zombie is going to come bringing all the stuff. He's going to have Johnny Five with him. And all of it. So it should be good. Let's see what this... I'm seeing Munsters here. He's also doing a TV show. Let's see what it says. As a rock icon and filmmaker with a unique vision, very unique, I'd say, Rob Zombie has continuously challenged audiences as he stretched the boundaries of both music and film. He has sold over 15 million albums worldwide and is the only artist to experience unprecedented success in both music and film as the writer-director of 8 feature films, with a worldwide grossing total of more than 150 million. Each of Rob Zombie's 7 solo studio albums have debuted in the top 10 on Billboard 200, including his most recent album, The Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse, in 2021. Zombie is an 8-time Grammy nominee, with his most recent nominations for Best what? What did they give heavy metal? Don't look at the word right down there. What did they give it? Best Metal Performance. That's what you get. Not Record of the Year, not Best Song of the Year, not Damn Good Song, Best Metal Performance. You could give that to anyone. Best Pop Performance. Best Hip Hop Performance. Eminem. At 2022 awards, Rob Zombie's 9th feature film. Oh, it's a film? I thought it was going to be a series. The Munsters is set to release later this year, so he's going to put it out in. He's going to put that out in October. That's the way he does things. It's time for your comments. We're going to get into those, and we're going to call it a do and a day on this episode. Ed Z coming in here, and he's got a little list. Nice intro and outro jams, and your lyrical content just flows out. Yes, I'm a bit of a poet. It's not the first time someone's said I was a poet and didn't even know it. Something was certainly flowing out all right. We did have a good laugh. Your Blackie Lawless impersonation was not too shabby, but your tattoo from Fantasy Island was even better. I'm telling you, man, I mastered my tattoo because I grew up on that show. So I know, Boff, quit touching my penis, Boff. You know, oh my goodness, it's just fun to do. And you know that little fella, he took I don't quote me on this, but I believe he did commit the big S, the suicide. And I think he did it it was like a fishing boat, like a rowboat with a gun. I think he went like fishing. And, honey, I'll be back later. I said I'll be back. I'm going to go get some fish. I'm going fishing. You know, and then he never came back. And then they found him. Some of that's probably true that I just said there. Thank you, sir, for that. Hershey, PA is the home of the original Milton Hershey. Is that what it's called? The Milton Hershey Chocolate Factory. So it is the place. That's the Mecca for fat people everywhere. Me, I love a good Hershey bar. Almonds in it. Shane D. Gorilla Tea has arrived. Only took 2 weeks and 4 days to come in. Excellent service. Very comfy tea. Thank you, Ed Z, for that, because I want to make sure that those things are arriving on time. It is a comfort tea, so it's a bit stretchy and it's nice. And it's, I appreciate that in so many ways. But more than anything else, it makes me happy to know that it was only 2 weeks and 4 days to get there. Thank you, sir, for the laughs, and stay well, brother. I will. You're getting a heart, and damn it, you're getting a thumbsy-upsy for that shirt, too. Mike Buchanan coming in here. Going back to the last video, my comment about having my aunt around with tissues at my wedding, the answer is no, I was not crying. Why not? You didn't get a little choked up when you were up there saying the nuptials? I was sicker than all get out. Oh. Weddings must go on. Honeymoons must go on. Yeah, you did the honeymoon no matter if you were sick or not. The wedding, you're like, I'm sick. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. But the honeymoon part, you're like, I think I'll be okay. Let's just see what we can do here. Try being beyond sick and go on a cruise. No. He says, not fun at all. Oh, my God, man. I've never been, I've always been on land. But I've always worried, like, if I was to take a cruise, I guarantee you the minute they pull the plank up and they start to go away, I'd be sick the whole damn time. I don't know what it is. He also says here, Skid Row was the last concert I saw before the world shut down in 2020. Oh! And Mike Buchanan, I need you to know what you think about old Gronwald joining the band. While, yes, the music sounded the same, it wasn't the same without Sebastian singing it. I saw them way back in the 90s. I mean, he's the voice. He's the voice of that. It's hard not to, it's hard not to have that, you know. That's the voice that you grew up with when you were, tickling your girlfriend in the back of your El Camino. You were listening to Youth Gone Wild, and you're saying, "Come on, baby, we're the Youth Gone Wild. Let's get wild." There's your heart, my friend, my friend. Kevin Smith coming in. Sebastian Bach needs to get another booster. He's had 4 already, hasn't he? Kevin, would that be great if Kevin was his doctor? He's literally calling out Sebastian Bach. Sebastian, if you read this, we need you to come in for the booster. You're getting a heart for that, Kevin. And Oscar here. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if everyone has put their comments in, if Miss Althea has put it in on time, or it's not showing up. I don't know. So it may be, I'll have to go check the pit of ultimate despair. Oscar Salvador coming in here. Remember when Steve Vai answered back to David Lee Roth with his 6-string on, on Yankee Rose? David, what? That would be a better Yngwie Malmsteen coffee talk if they both just sat there and spoke with their guitars. And he never had anyone. You know who the best talker would be? If it was coffee talk, you can sit and drink coffee, but you have to answer and question with your guitar. That dang guy from Animals as Leaders. My God. That guy's insane. He plays one of those bizarre shaped guitars that's, the neck on it's as thick as a gorilla's leg. And it's got 40 strings on it. And just... But yes, indeedy, that would be entertaining. I'm waiting for Yngwie to have more guests, and I'm waiting for him to have one on there that he disagrees with, because I feel like Yngwie might have a bit of a hot spot in him. You know what I mean? To where I would love to see him just lose his shit on someone through a Zoom camera. Listen to me, you son of a bitch! So there's your heart there, Oscar, and that is it for this episode of Jive Talkin with Shane D. I love you guys so much, and dude, and I want you to know that I think you're very special people. Ooh, that's sorry. Yeah. Here we go. And we go back, Jack, do it again. Wheels turning round and round. You go back, Jack, Jive Talkin again. Wheels turning